According to promoter Eddie Hearn and others around the internet, it seems that there was a likely culprit, and the reason why Gervonta Tank Davis is not going to take on Lamont Roach on December 14th in Houston, Texas, as previously advertised. We're going to talk about that in this video, but first, if you're new here, thank you for stopping by and taking a look and being interested. Please consider subscribing and sharing this video. And for those of you who have been here before, thank you for supporting me. Lately, for some reason, the algorithm has crept on my channel, and we're getting a lot of lower than usual views. So please just hit that bell icon so you can get notified when the new videos come up. Now, it seems that the likely culprit, and Eddie Hearn is one of the promoters, and I think Bob Arum was also on record, and other people and YouTubers around that are close in the know. It came down to money more than likely, and because the payout for a Lamont Roach fight is a lot lower than it was for his last fight. Now, it comes as no surprise because Lamont Roach is a mismatch on paper. Now, can he come in there and do an upset and shock the world? Of course he can. It's boxing. Anything can happen at any given time, especially if the fighter is a good fighter. But the old adage is, a bigger great champion will always be a smaller great champion. Of course, there are rules that there are exceptions to that rule at times, but more than likely, a bigger great fighter will always be a small fighter. Now, no one really asked for this fight. No one was looking for Lamont Roach. No one was, seeing how Lamont Roach was operating on 130 pounds, and looking like a beast, and saying, it'll be great if Lamont Roach was to move up and take on Tank. It'll be a great fight. Nobody was calling for this fight whatsoever. Now, was he the only man up? Yes, he was, because there's no one at 135. There's absolutely no one at 135 pounds, north, south, east, or west of Gervonta Tank Davis that anybody wants to see, and two, that will give him a run for his money. So now people are going to tell you, a lot of, teeny tanksters are going to tell you, well, Lamont Roach, he did fight at 140 for a long time, at 135, campaign at 135 for a while, went back down to 130. Became champion at 130. Now he's coming up to 135. So he's not a stranger to 135. That's not the point. The point is not that he's not a stranger to 135, and that he's a legitimate 130-pound champion, and maybe a solid one. But the point is, nobody was checking for that fight. Now, it might turn out to be a great fight, kind of like Wilder 3, right, versus Fury. Wilder Fury 3, right? Nobody wanted that fight. Everybody thought it was going to be a waste of time, seeing as the rematch looked like, and it became a classic, right? It could be that, but that's a risk you're willing to take. And PBC is saying, no, we're not taking that risk because this is a guy that nobody's going to pay for, right? So you got to take less money. On average, Gervonta doesn't move over $400,000 on his own without a dance partner that anybody wants to see. So people think that he's like this, $800,000, $900,000, $1 million, million view, pay-per-view buys kind of guy. He's not, right? He's not. He's in the culture. He's in the zeitgeist, but nobody really wants to check him like that. So, like that, where he can fight anybody and sell 600,000-700,000 pay-per-views. It's not gonna happen. So against Lamont Roach, this is not gonna happen. So more than likely, what's gonna end up happening is, and the reasoning is, hey, we're gonna move this to January, do another doubleheader with David Benavidez on there versus Morrell. It'll be a co-main event. And then they can recoup their money. Then at that point, they can say, well, we got Benavidez versus Morrell. People going to really check for that fight. And Lamont Roach now has gotten some traction because of the controversy. So it only makes sense to move it because it'll get people more adjusted to the fact who Lamont Roach is. Maybe they can research him. They can pump the fight a little more, put a couple of more packages together. Same thing with Morrell and Benavidez, and then put that up there, and then, okay, maybe you could get 600,000, 700,000 pay-per-view buys, right? I don't think the last one they did together made that much, but just like a brand new franchise in a movie, part one doesn't make a lot of money, but if people get hooked on it and they thought it was a good product, and then it's a sequel to that, then the sequel automatically makes a little more money upon return, right? So people didn't know how this first card with both being on it was going to turn out to be, and then it was a really good card, I thought. So now people might be checking for the next one, and this is a better opposition, at least for Benavidez' side. And then if they can hype up Lamont Roach and get some packages together and get some things going, maybe that'll sell. But at the end of the day, guys, Gervonta Tank Davis is going to have to move up to 140 pounds. It's unsustainable. He cannot be there. Shakur Stevenson is not going to fight him. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to go hunting. If he wants to keep getting paid what he wants to get paid, he's gonna have to go hunting for the names that we're gonna push some ticket sales. It's just not gonna go that way if he just goes ahead and stays 135 pounds forever. It's not gonna happen. I don't care what you say. Oh, he's 135 pounds naturally. Oh well, then he's gonna have to then take less money and keep fighting guys nobody wants him to see fight. So at the end of the day, if you're a teeny tankster and you're thinking that, hey, this is the way to go, you're doing him a disservice because it does something for his legacy. And if he's your favorite fighter, you want to see him against the best. You don't want to see him against somebody who's just going to go ahead and give him a round or 2 or 3 somewhat difficulty. And then all of a sudden, when Tank Davis just figures him out, boom, boom, bam, bam, he's out of there. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to, you're just doing him a disservice. If you think he's the best, you want him to fight Tio, you want him to fight, Loma, but Loma backed out, so he clearly ducked him at 135. You want him to fight Liam Paro. You want him to fight those guys, and then see what he's really made of up at 140, because that's where the smoke is. You know what I'm saying? That's where Devin Haney is. I'm not saying that. I think that Ron Garcia is a 147 fighter. But you got solid guys up there 140 that people will want to see him against, and it's a disservice to himself. It's a disservice to himself, and like I said, the teeny tanksters need to get off the high horse, look at really what's happening, and let's get this guy in the ring with real exciting fights. And if he loses, he loses, man. This is what it is. It's boxing. If you lose, you lose. You just get back on your horse and you go back and you fight and you train again and you rematch and you see if you can get it. You get back. It's just the way it's always been in boxing. But let me know in the comments down below. What do you think this fight is not happening in December? What do you think happened? What do you think is the real truth? Do you think that they should even change the opponent or keep Lamont Roach? Should they unite with David Benavidez up in January? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, and I'm out. Peace.